Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Muscle Building Mastery Podcast. My name is Andy Clements, and in this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about home workouts because we're in the middle of a lockdown here in the UK. It is February, the 3rd of February 2021, and we're still in the middle of a lockdown. I'm just checking because I just had some Cocoa Pops, and I'm just checking. I'm just looking to see if I've got like a brown stain. I don't know. No, I'm alright. It's just the shadow. I've just got done with a home workout, which is better than it used to be. Because we've been bouncing in and out of lockdown, and I've managed to get hold of like some decent equipment, right? So I am using like a power rack now. I've got weights up to 155 kilos with a barbell. I've got dumbbells up to like 32 kilos. I've got some bands, a bench, all sorts of stuff, that's not as much as you would find in a gym. So I've not got like leg press and machines and different things like that. But I've got enough to get a decent workout in. And I'm really, really grateful for that because my workouts are really enjoyable again. And I'm making some decent progress, even though the gyms are closed. But it wasn't always like that. And if you're watching in the UK, you'll know that this particular lockdown is our third lockdown. We keep like bouncing in and out of lockdowns, and the gyms keep opening and closing again. And when the gyms first closed and the first lockdown was imposed on us back in March of last year, back in March of 2020, none of us were prepared. We were all sort of taken by surprise. Like nothing like that's ever happened before. The gyms have never forcibly been closed. We've never had that imposed on us, and it also sort of took us by surprise a bit. So nobody had any kit, right? And if you remember, even if you had money, which at the time I didn't, I wasn't prepared for it at all. It was kind of like a bit of a downturn financially. I didn't have much money, so I had to get to work and earn some money. But at the time I didn't have much money, and even if I did, like gym equipment was ridiculously expensive. It was all out of stock because the gyms had closed for everybody at the same time. So everybody was in the same position. Everyone in the same boat in terms of they can't train because the gyms have been closed. And so everybody wanted equipment, right? So the best equipment would get sold out straight away. And because it's a supply and demand thing, there was more demand than there was supply. The price went up and up and up, and it just priced everybody out, so there was no way that I could at that time in my life get the equipment I needed to get good workouts in. So it was even more kind of annoying, right? Because the year before I had sold a bunch of dumbbells that I had dumbbells up to about 25 or 30 kilos, really good quality rubber dumbbells, and rubber coated dumbbells, and I figured I got to like 2019, I had them for about 6-7 years, and I barely used them. I used to have a little bit of a home gym in my old house, but when I moved, I never set it up again, and I just kind of thought, well, I'm always just going to go to the gym. I don't need a home gym. I don't need to train from home. So I sold them, and I sold them for like really cheap, like 70 quid or something for the whole set. I was just like, yeah, I'll just get some money. They're already sitting in the garage, right? I'm never going to use them. So when lockdown hit, obviously, I'd got rid of all my good weights, and the only things that I had left were two of them, like sand-filled, like Spinlock, really, really old plastic 10-kilogram dumbbells. And I say they should have been 10 kilograms. I think they were more, probably like 7-8 kilograms, right? But I had two dumbbells, and they amounted to what should have been 10 kilograms each, right? And I had a couple of resistance bands, and that's it. No bench, no bar, no squat rack, no Olympic barbell, no proper dumbbells, no machines, no cables, nothing, right? The only thing I had was two 10-kilogram dumbbells, which were really poor quality, and two resistance bands. That's it. And over the course, because we were in that lockdown, if you remember, we were in that lockdown from the end of March to like, by the time the gyms opened, it was the end of July. So it was like April, May, June, July. It was like 4 months. And there was 4 months where I was like, right, I've got two choices. I can either not train for 4 months and guarantee that I lose all my muscle, like absolutely guarantee I lose my muscle, and just like write it off and just be like, well, I'm not doing the gym, I'm not doing the muscle thing, I'm not doing the fitness thing, I'm just gonna sit on my ass, drink beer and eat shit like a lot of people did, right? Or The alternative is I can make the most of what I've got and try and get the best workouts in that I can using the principles I know of how to train to build muscle. Because weight, lifting a lot of weight is a really, really useful and important tool we have, but when that's taken away from us because the gyms have been closed and we can't get hold of any equipment, which some of you guys might still be in that position, we have to improvise, and we have to, if we want to keep moving forward, or at least we don't want to go backwards, we've got to improvise, right? And so what I did with that particular period of time, those 4 months, while I couldn't get hold of any equipment, A, because there wasn't any available, and B, if there wasn't any available, it was totally out of my price range, I just used what I had, I got off my arse, I used what I had, and there was only 2 10 kilogram dumbbells and a couple of resistance bands, and I just made the workouts, and I just slowed my tempo down, and I used principle of tension, and I utilized bodyweight exercises, and I utilized the resistance bands, and I made circuit workouts, and I did everything I possibly could to hold on to muscle as much as I could with my workouts, and I actually ended up, I don't think it was like, I definitely didn't get bigger, but I ended up keeping a very, very decent physique by my standards, which ended up, I got like some before and afters, I posted them online back at the time. I might dig the photos out, and I ended up losing a lot of fat and keeping a very, very good physique, like an athletic looking physique, which I was really, really pleased with. To say I had barely any equipment whatsoever, right? I was really, really pleased with that. But if I'd have taken the opposite approach and be like, all I've got is 2 10 kilogram dumbbells, what's the point? Like if that thought had gone through my head, like what's the point in training with 2 10 kilogram dumbbells? I would have been guaranteeing myself no results whatsoever. I'd have been guaranteeing that I finished lockdown with a worse physique than I started it. Now, I could have ended up with a worse physique anyway, but if you don't even try, if you don't even have the thought, if you have the thought that what's the point, then you're just guaranteeing yourself really, really poor results. And so what I want to get across to you guys that are watching or listening to this episode of the podcast today is that if you are sat at home now, I mean, we're in February, at the time of recording, we've probably got at least another month, maybe another 2-3 months left of this lockdown. And if you have given up on your muscle building goals, it's something you still want, but you think it's impossible for you because you don't have any equipment. Maybe you've only got a couple of dumbbells, maybe you have nothing whatsoever. What I'd say to you is this: if you give up on your muscle building goals, that's guaranteeing your failure to your muscle building goals. If you try and make the best of a bad situation, you're trying to make the best of what you've got, even if you're just doing slow tempo, slow controlled circuit style bodyweight workouts where you're doing slow squats and you're using intention and you're researching properly how to do these to build muscle, then you're giving yourself a fighting chance of, at the very least, hanging on to the muscle you've got. And maybe, if you've taken some time off, you've atrophied, you've got smaller, then maybe if you start doing something, you'll see a little bit of growth again. You'll see your muscle starting to respond again, right? So that's the main point I want to get across. If you're giving up on your muscle building goals, that's guaranteeing failure. So don't guarantee your own failure, because it's not only the training that matters, right? The training is one important part, and it is an important part of building muscle, obviously, because you need to create some kind of stimulus to grow or stimulus to keep the muscle that you've got, right? But there are so many other factors as well. And I remember in that first lockdown, I was like, right, okay, I'm going to do what the absolute best I can with this equipment I've got, with the 2 rubbish little dumbbells I've got, and the bands. But them alone are not going to be enough to keep this physique that I've worked so hard for over the last few years. So I'm going to have to start really nailing other factors. So I started really absolutely getting precision and nailing my diet, right? I was like, right, I need to ramp up my attention on diet, because diet, I can't fall back on my training anymore because I've not got the right equipment to have really amazing sessions. I'm just going to get the best I can. So I started nailing my diet. The next thing I started nailing was like, okay, because it was over the summer, like we had a really nice spring that year, so the end of March, then into April, May. a nice spring, and then obviously the rest of it was a summer in June, July, and then August. So I ended up spending a ton of time outside. I was lucky enough to have a back garden, I had space to train outside, and it was most days were sunny, most days were bright, most days were warm. So I was lucky enough to be able to go outside and train, and I was spending so much time outside, and that sunlight, the natural light that I was able to assimilate through my eyes and through my skin, was so important, A, for my health, and B, for my muscle building development. And I honestly believe that's one of the biggest things that, not only did it give me a tan, which was really cool, but it also, I honestly believe it's one of the biggest things that helped me to hold on to so much muscle, because natural light is so important. And if we're just sitting inside all day, then the only natural light we're getting is through a window, which is massively filtered anyway, and we're in front of screens, we're with laptops, and we're in front of phones, and we're in front of TV screens, and we're not getting any exposure to natural light. We're massively limiting one particular sort of pillar and cornerstone of our muscle building and health setup, and that's really limiting. So that's another area you can focus on, is getting that natural light, getting out first thing in the morning, getting out as much as you can through the day, getting out as the sun's setting, getting that circadian rhythm right. And that leads into the next bit. So I was really conscious in trying to make sure I was sleeping well, because sleeping's a massive part of recovery, right? And sleeping's going to really help build that muscle up. So if you're limited in terms of equipment, then the first three things you can focus on are diet, sunlight, and sleep. Yeah. The last thing is stress management. So if you're getting really stressed about stuff, you need to maybe start looking into ways to manage that, looking into ways to negotiate that, and making sure that you're not getting yourself massively stressed, because all the stress that you're taking on is going to take away what you're able to give to your workouts, and you want to have the best workouts you possibly can, even if you've got no equipment. So it all leads into each other. There's so many other things than just I don't have the weights, I don't have the equipment. There's so much more to muscle building than just lifting big weights. And lifting big weights cool, and that's what will get the most attention. That's what's going to get the most likes on social media, and it's got what people like to talk about. But it's one part of a multifaceted picture when it comes to building muscle, and that's what I want to get across to you guys is if you don't have any equipment at home right now, or if you've just got a couple of little bits that aren't even remotely comparable to being in a gym, that doesn't mean the end of your muscle building goals. You can still build muscle, you can still retain the physique. You've just got to be a bit more thoughtful, a bit more methodical, and not give up on it. That's the biggest thing. So if you're in that position that I was last spring and summer, or maybe you're even worse than that, and you've got no equipment whatsoever, you haven't even got the dumbbells, then if you want to try and get a couple of bits of equipment and try and look online for some relatively inexpensive stuff, like a couple of light dumbbells or a couple of resistance bands or anything, that would be a start. But if you don't even want to do that, or you really bootstrap, you've got no spare funds whatsoever, don't give up on it. You can still absolutely nail the diet, nail the sleep, do the best you can with bodyweight exercises, get as much sunlight and natural light, even if it's cloudy outside, get outside and get some natural light through your eyes and through your skin, get sleeping well and manage your stress, and you will see a massive upturn if you nail those concepts and nail those factors in your life. You'll see a massive upturn in your muscle mass and in your physique if you have gone from not paying any attention to paying lots of attention to it. So that's what I want to get across with you right now. Don't give up on your muscle building goals, regardless of whether you've got any equipment or not. I hope that was useful, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, because I'm going to be producing it every single day. This is episode. Gosh, I think it's episode 4. I might have said episode 3, but I think it's episode 4. Yeah, episode 4 of the Muscle Building Mastery podcast. So this is day number 4, and I'm going to be producing every single day. Just little short 10-15 minute videos or podcasts to try and give you as much muscle building tips and strength tips and all that sort of stuff to keep you moving in the right direction. And so subscribe, and I will see you back here next time for another episode of the Muscle Building Mastery podcast.